like a seesaw.
I was just saying it's scary because like saying this the other day is in the fact that he's just come back. If I'm right, am I right in saying he just come back?
Yeah,
again?
yeah. He's just come back. Yeah.
Like some people, so they say like the people watching wrestling now, like kids watching wrestling now, probably didn't watch him when he come back with Matt.
Yeah.
So it's like to them, they could think he's like brand new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people like that, or people like with Edge, they think, oh, this guy's new.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just mad to think that these people have been going for however long they have been. It's sort of the same as when someone gets to WWE. Like someone gets to WWE and everyone expects them, oh, this is like their first year, and really they could be like been doing this for like years and years and years and years. So it's odd. I think wrestling's very strange like that, but
it's a strange time in general. Like even without all this going on, because like the fact that Bill Goldberg showed up in Saudi Arabia and beat like the prime guy Bray Wyatt. Just out of nowhere, and then took the title on, was just like, again, it's wrestling and WWE can be so odd sometimes, because when I look back, because I've been watching quite a lot of the Attitude stuff, that's sort of like my prime time of when I was like in my teens, so like, and wrestling was cool to watch back then. If I was at school, like it wasn't, and then as soon as Steve Austin come along, all of a sudden all these like kids that never used to want to speak to me, all of a sudden they were like in my ear hole, tell me about this, tell me about that, because he was just cool all of a sudden, you know what I mean, middle finger to the boss, all this, it was just like fantastic. But when I go back and watch the Attitude stuff, man, there's no way they would have brought Hulk Hogan in like they do with Bill Goldberg and just have like Hogan squash like The Rock or Austin at that time, or Mankind or Triple H. Like they wouldn't have brought guys, and if they did, they would have done it in a way that only puts over their current crop, not the other way around. But like it's so strange the way they do their bookings at the moment. And really the only guy who I would say is consistently over, like in a strange way, is probably Brock Lesnar. And the only reason that is because he does, like, I tell you what, if there's anybody who knows about isolation, it's Brock Lesnar. Yeah. This guy lives in like a compound, right? So he's fine. He's like used to this. I believe he doesn't have internet, he doesn't have a telephone, so he's fine. But that's half the reason he's over, is because he's not exposed. He doesn't come out and do interviews where he doesn't have to. And pretty much what you see on screen is pretty much him. And for some reason, he seems to have carte blanche. Like when it comes to the style he wants to do, like WWE are all for it. But I just wish they'd be like that with like a lot of these other guys they've got, because it's so odd now.
Yeah, I think it's just it's like, I think you sort of hit it on the head when you said like he's not overexposed.
Yeah, like less is more.
They've got so many hours. Yeah, they've got so many hours of content to fill. So no, it's a mad one, but it's very strange. I do, like you said, I was saying, it's just not even just about wrestling, just generally, like people look back at this and just, it'd be weird. Like I was saying, this will be like 15 years time. This will be part of kids' history lessons. You know?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
they'll be like, it'll come up in a quiz show. What was the one company that still decided to go on? Through all this, WWE.
Well, that was the thing, because to be fair, with them cancelling it now, like everything being cancelled, WWE will be one of the only things that can have something consistent for 30 plus years. Yeah, you know, like consistently, it's always happened every year. You know, like even the Olympics has got moved back. Every big sporting event that's been moved back has been moved at least a year. So like at least they're rebooking it for like 2021. No one's pushed it back. So it's just mad. Like I said, I'm fine with the quarantine. I'm not like staying up, like not doing much and get to chill with the kids and that. Like, but the main thing I miss is actually wrestling. Yeah, and going training. Those are the main things at the moment.
Just to end on our like little detour here on our history, but was you did you ever used to watch like ECW or WCW back in like when you was a fan, or was it just like WWF stuff?
I watched the I probably gonna get a lot of heat for this, but I liked the WWE ECW, and I thought the black belt was really cool.
I remember that, the
black and silver belt, and obviously I mentioned that once to someone, and she got like ripped into it. I was like, what? That was horrible. It was rubbish, and I was like, oh, well, I always thought it was cool. But yeah, that was about it really. Like I said, until the first ever non-WWE match I ever watched was Ospreay versus Ricochet.
Right.
Best in the Super Juniors when I first started training, and then started watching indie wrestling. Like the first indie show I went to that I wasn't like booked on or anything was last year, and that was day 2 of Strong Style.
Right.
So I was very much in the bubble of just WWE, and then even when I started watching it, I never went to like live shows. I only done like my training shows and stuff like that, and then branching out more and more, getting on bigger shows. Then I thought, oh, well, then someone offered me a free ticket, so I was like, yeah, I'll go to watch this Progress show.
Yeah.
And now sort of, I watch Progress more than WWE at this rate. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a bit like that as well. I think that I'm more into the sort of UK scene now than I've ever been. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, to me, I think maybe it's because I'm a little bit older now. I don't know, just WWE just doesn't appeal as much. It'll always be there in the background, but it's just something that's not.
I think it's one of those things in wrestling you can't not know. Like, I haven't properly sat down and watched it in months, but I can tell you who's the champion.
Yeah.
Like who all the champions are.
Yeah.
You know, I can say, just from being in wrestling, you know who's feuding with who and stuff like that. Because even if I don't follow any WWE accounts, but like you follow people and they know, and like stuff gets shared. You know, so you see what's happening. Like it's very hard to be in wrestling and not know what they're doing. Same with AEW. I think I've watched one episode of Dynamite.
Right.
But, but I can still tell you.
Have you checked out NWA at all?
Bits and pieces.
Yeah,
seen a few bits.
That's
I saw that Marty mentioned drop kicks on there.
Yeah,
no, not Marty. Stu Bennett.
Yeah.
So which is quite very strange. But I've seen a bit. Yeah, people have recommended that to me. Like Jake is always going on about it. So.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, it's like it's set up old, but again, it's like it's. I think Billy Corgan, isn't it, that runs that? I think he's got the right idea, because obviously, like when he went in and bought that, like TNA, it was just, I don't know how many times TNA had revamped themselves, but it was like a ridiculous amount, and it was just a nightmare. Whereas he's just decided, look, we are who we are. We're not going to be huge. Let's just do something that nobody else is doing. Let's do a studio audience. Let's make it look like Memphis used to be, and just have something unique. And I don't think he's going to, he's trying to take over the world with it. But I think there's a niche market for it. I don't think like a young person would look at it and go, "Oh, I really like it," because I think it would be a little bit too slow for them. But for people of like maybe even for me, I kind of appreciate what they're doing. And I'll say this much is like, like the backstage interview, it's such a lost art these days. I rarely see a backstage interview on WWE now, like not even at WrestleMania that much. It's just something that's been lost. I don't know what's happened, but to see people still doing it, like really unscripted, just feeling their character, it's pretty cool to see. And like it's something that's really it's quite a useful tool, but it just doesn't get used anymore. It's like the dying of managers as well. It sort of fits into that category where just sort of WWE's moved on away from it for some reason. I'm not sure why, but no, I do enjoy it. It's pretty cool. Now obviously not only are you a wrestler, but you're also like your promoter as well for Triumph Wrestling. How like for you, obviously being a promoter, it's got to be a little bit of a stressful time as we sort of in the predicament that we are. But I mean, from a promoter's point of view, do you think you're going to struggle financially coming out of this, or are you guys like okay, and no matter what happens, you've got sort of like an underground sort of plan to what's going to happen?
Like where there's a few of us running it, it's not like we take the full hit ourselves, but our venues are great. Our show for the 11th of April, obviously not happening. They're just like pick a new date, once we're back to normal, we'll go from there. So we literally lost like 70 quid on posters,
right,
for that show. That's it. All the boys more than like same with August if it comes to it. Hopefully we'll be starting to get back to normal. That's what I think I honestly think it'll be August. We'll be starting to get back to normal. It sounds
horrible. That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good. Though. I mean, we'd all look.
I do think that's when the world will be sorted.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. To be fair, like Triumph was always like a little side project initially for us. Just wanted to see if we could do it. Run our own show. And then it's sort of it's getting bigger and better. And then but everywhere is the same. I feel everyone is in the same predicament as us. I can't see it being a problem when it comes back. There hasn't been, no one has been like, oh, is it coming back, sort of thing. It's, as far as we're all concerned, who runs it, all four of us are like, no, it's still coming back. So
yeah, that's cool.
And
like, obviously, like, you know, you've had it for a little while now. Like you said, it's a side project. Where do you guys, like, as a group, collectively, have you got like a vision where you'd like it to get to, or is it just pretty much, you know, take it step by step?
Initially, we wanted to run it so that we'd do 6 shows a year. That was the goal. We wanted by the end of. So this year we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4. We had 4 booked in. One's happened, obviously. One's been now postponed, and then the other 2 are August and October. And then we was looking to have another one in July. So we was almost at our target of 6 this year.
Yeah.
So it would have been 6. The plan would have been 6 in 3 venues, sort of thing. So 3 venues twice a year would have been the plan. And then the next thing, my next thing was the quality of the video, so I can get that out quicker. I wanted to make sure we can get commentary on that. We can get them all nicely edited, and then get them out to a streaming service to get, you know, so more eyes on it. Yeah. That was my little goal. I feel like quality-wise, it was just getting better and better. Just naturally, as we was booking the shows, they were just getting better and being able to bring better people onto the shows and make the shows better and like giving people opportunity. I didn't want to just copy and paste matches I've seen in other promotions, so that was a big thing for us. But,
and like
I think we're getting busier as a wrestler as well. I'm focusing on my wrestling as much as I'm focusing on running Triumph, and Jap's the same, Sam's the same. So it's going well, to be fair. Like, just try and see what's next. I guess we have to play it by ear. So I guess everyone is. He's
like, just talking about Sam Dufresne there. He's like, when I started to come out, he was like a guy I penciled in really early. I was kind of surprised that he hadn't got more of a name for him. Like, he wasn't more established than he is. You know, because I really liked like his psychology in the ring. And I think it was like a couple of DKW shows I'd seen him at. I was like, he just needs to be used differently, like in one, like slightly different, a few tweaks here and there. And then I watched him in the Rumble, and I thought that's the start of something good, because like you can tell that like he seemed like he was more confident with it as well, like in himself.
Yeah, well, I said to him like, look, Sam, like I was like, you're a big guy, don't be scared to like lay it in and be aggressive. Like, that's the thing you're missing. You look like a beast. You've got to act like one now. Yeah, you know, and that's what he done in that Rumble. Which, and again, that's another thing. This whole thing sucks. Like, I was supposed to face him for the Dropkicks title.
Yeah, I remember that.
This week or next week? I'm literally, my days are all.
Yeah, I think that would have happened by now. Actually.
Yeah,
I think that would have happened.
But I don't know, maybe we'll drag out long enough and I'll be the longest reigning British champion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of that now, isn't there?
Defended it twice. Like we won the World War Wrestling tag titles, and it's like, I'm happy that was our last show before this all went crazy. But it's one of those things. It's like, I just want to be getting stuff done now. We've won them, and it's like, now let's prove that we deserve them. And it's like, everything's going down, and it all sucks. And like I said, wrestling is the thing I miss the most, but I feel like there's a lot of people saying that right now. So
yeah, I mean, and the tag team like slots that you and Jack are in, like, obviously a phenomenal tag team. Can't say enough good things about you two. Of what I see, who would you say like have been some of your best opponents like out there at the moment that you've faced in the ring? Like, who are the guys that you sort of like really enjoy working with at the moment?